Alright, so we've got a video here just on farm kills. Now when I say farm kills, we've got 6 lambs here that the father-in-law just decided this morning that we're going to kill. So we've done a day's work on the farm and then it's night time and we've decided to quickly knock 6 on the head. Now we're doing this literally in the shearing shed. My father-in-law is a 4th generation farmer on this farm, so he's been doing this since he was a boy, and it's quite simply you just draft your lambs, or sheep in this matter, up into the catching pens, and that's where all the action happens. Now when it comes to farm butchering or farm kills, there are a ton of different ways you can go about it, from the slaughter to the skinning to the actual processing of the meat at the end. You can shoot it in the head first or use a bolt gun first and then slit their throat to bleed them out, but at the end of the day it's going to be either the butcher's decision or the farmer's decision if they would like to do it one way or over the other. For this particular situation, my father-in-law, he likes to slit their throat first. He doesn't like to waste a bullet on them when you can simply slit their throat, bleed them out and sever the spinal cord and the job's done. Now I get that a lot of people will be watching this and they'll probably think that the animal is still alive at this point, but the fact of the matter is this is just spasms. Simply put, the spinal cord has been severed when we've slit the throat, so the animal's muscles are simply just spasming because there are little electric currents still running through those muscles and they need to more or less fade out, and that will happen once the heart stops. So to set the scene and give you a picture here, we're slitting their throat in a smaller catching pen and then dragging them into a bigger catching pen, which has block and tackles hanging from the roof, which we're then going to use to suspend the lambs like so. Now don't get me wrong, this would be a whole lot easier doing it during the day if you had a cool room trailer with a gantry and a winch system, even if I had my own knife pouch with me to be able to use the knives that I use all the time and that I'm familiar with, but at the end of the day it was an impromptu kill and we're just making the best of what we've got. Now speaking of using what we've got, that right there is a wooden gimbal that was actually made by Philip's father when he was around about 20-25. And he's almost 90 now, so it's proof in the pudding that if you look after the equipment, it doesn't matter how advanced or how primitive it is, if you look after it, it's going to last the test of time and be able to use for generations to come. So you can see there that we've got a heap of skins all bundled up. Now I've tied them up. Tomorrow I'll take them up the paddock and we'll set them in a spot where we can use them as bait to attract foxes and wild dogs, to then be able to go out there under the thermals and try and shoot them at night, just to reduce the amount of vermin of foxes and wild dogs around the area. Alternatively, you can keep all the guts and the insides and obviously process them further, and a lot of cultures do that, but where we are up on the farm, we don't do that, so we simply use them in the aspect of trying to then remove some of the vermin off the property. Okay, so now when it comes back to the actual skinning of the lamb, at the end of the day, I'm not the fastest there is out there, and that's fine. I've been butchering for nearly 20 years, but I haven't been slaughtering and skinning animals for 20 years. So I'm still in that learning process. Although I may know how to do it a certain way, there's going to be other people out there that do it a different way, and also a more efficient and faster way. But at the end of the day, I'm open to learning, so hopefully over time, I can learn more and more efficient ways to do it, and hopefully get faster as I go along. Now I just want to point out that my kids are in the shearing shed with us, and they are 100% keen as mustard to give us a hand in what's going on here. They've been exposed to this sort of thing since a young age, and I believe that every child should know where the food that they eat comes from. It doesn't have to be everyone's cup of tea. It doesn't necessarily mean that everyone has to get involved and have a go at it, but you need to be realistic in knowing that your meat doesn't just magically appear on the supermarket shelf. Someone had to grow it, it had to be slaughtered to be processed for you to be able to eat those chops or whatever you're eating for dinner. It didn't just appear there, so next time you see something like this, don't turn away or hide it from your kids. Let them watch it and explain to them what it is to actually educate them, because at the end of the day, there is that many people these days that just are unaware of how the food got to their plate. Okay, so now that I've got that skin completely removed, I'm going to actually use it to drop the guts into. This is definitely not something you have to do, it's just what I'm doing, and more or less it's because we're in the shed, and as I said earlier, I do have to take this up the paddock tomorrow morning, so to make it easier to transport onto the ute, by doing it that way, I don't have to pick up multiple things. I can just simply pick them up one skin or one body at a time and throw it on the back of the ute. For anybody wondering, all we keep out of the offal is the liver, the heart, and the caul fat. Caul fat simply because we can wrap it around a roast lamb, and the liver and the heart is actually kept for the dogs. We don't actually eat it ourselves. That's just a personal preference. Not to say that it's no good to eat. It's actually extremely good for you, but personally, we don't eat it. It's not our cup of tea. But we do make sure we make use of it. We keep it and give it to our working dogs. Now, for anybody that heard me say caul fat and you're not sure what that is, it's this fat that encases your stomach, intestines and whatnot inside of sheep, goats, deer and cattle and so on. It's a really good one to be able to harvest and use then to wrap around a roast, especially if you've got a dry roast or you just want to keep it nice and moist. The caul fat's something that you can harvest, put it around like a webbing or a netting around your roast, and it'll keep all that moisture infused into your roast. It'll stop it from drying out. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this longer format content, let me know in the comments and I'll definitely get some more of this together for you in the future. Again, thank you for watching and I hope you got something out of it.